our dressage. Yesterday I walked our cross-country course and it's definitely a challenge, but we're up for it. And tomorrow morning we've got show jumping and the cross-country at midday, and I shall walk show jumping in the morning. Ruffian and I are staying at the university livery, so we're actually very local to this event, so that was really handy. So he's all settled in with a field and a stable instead of pop-up stables that they have here. And yes, he's a bit tired. He looks a bit sleepy before our dressage, but hopefully I can wake him up. And I'm looking forward to the challenge of the dressage, but fingers crossed I remember it, and fingers crossed he pays attention enough for the whole test. But yes, fingers crossed, and looking forward to the weekend. Hello and welcome back to another YouTube video. Here, Ruffian and I are competing at the Corinthian Cup at Gatcombe, and I thought I would talk you through my dressage test. So Ruffian and I entered with sitting trot down the centre line. I decided to do my whole test in sitting trot, apart from the medium trots which you're about to see. It was quite a big atmosphere, and we aren't really used to that with our normal BE events, but we scored a 36.1, which I was a little disappointed with actually, because I thought our test was really lovely. He was very workmanlike and he took the crowds in quite well, and he felt quite supple to me, sat on top of him. But both dressage judges scored me very similar, so obviously it wasn't quite what they were looking for on the day. But for our medium trot and our entrance we got 6.5s, and for our lateral work we got 6s. For our first lateral work, he was a little bit stiff, and he was a little bit above the vertical in his bridle. And then, as you can see, doing our second medium trot, I was quite happy with both of them. He had a little bit of energy within both of them, but both judges said they looked a little bit rushed. But I was happy that he didn't accidentally pop into canter. And then again with our second lateral work, I thought this was better than our first one. He was a lot more accepting in the bridle, and you can see he really uses his hind end and crosses over really well back to the track. But again, we scored a 6 for that. But I was really focusing on trying to keep a rhythm and ride as accurately as I could, and there was our walk at sea, which I was really happy with, and again trying to keep the impulsion going, but not exciting him too much where he puts a little jog in. And I was quite happy with his walk tempo, but he was quite bobbing with his head. I don't think he was quite settled in the walk. There was just so much going on. Oliver Townend was doing his dressage test next to us, which I think was a little off-putting, but our free walk on a long rein was half a 20-metre circle. I think I rode a good size of half a 20-metre circle. However, you can see he didn't really stretch, and he was a little bit looky in the atmosphere around him. And then here between M and C, preparing him for his walk to canter, which I was really happy with, and I believe we scored a 6.5 for that movement with both judges. And then preparing him for a bit of counter canter, hitting the centre line. I was really happy with this. He kept a really good canter and didn't swish his tail as if he wanted to change his legs at all or anything. I thought he kept quite a nice outline. And then here was a 2-loop serpentine with a canter transition over the centre line. I believe we could have done a few more trot steps, but I didn't want to overexcite him, and I wanted to keep him nice and calm, so when he popped into canter on the correct leg I sort of just went with it. But again, I thought his outline was really nice and smart throughout the canter work. Again, doing our 10 loop, hitting the centre mark. I do believe his haunches swung a little bit in that counter canter, and I think we scored a 6.5 for that movement as well. And then our trot transition was a little bit late and a little bit tense, so lost some marks there, scoring 6s. And then onto our 20-metre circle at R, which was a stretchy trot, which I was really happy with. Again, with the atmosphere, I was really pleased that he did stretch, and obviously shows a difference between our sitting trot and our risen trot. And then finally, our half 10-metre circle up the centre line. He sadly mistook my outside leg cue in keeping his shoulders nice and straight before the centre line as a canter transition, so we unluckily had one stride of canter, but I quickly fixed that and we got a beautiful square halt, and I was so proud. Right, so we've just done our dressage test at Gatcombe. I was really happy with it actually. I was really happy with how he kept his nerve and I kept my nerve. I was a bit nervous for it in terms of remembering it. And we have a lot of professionals next to us, but I was really pleased with him. He was very rideable, a little bit too off the leg. He was quite excitable once we got in the whiteboards. I did it in sitting trot, which I'm trying to practice a little bit more often, and I felt that I was with him during my sitting trot, not just a sack of potatoes on his back. His medium trots he gave a go. It is hot here, so I think he could have given a little bit more, but again I didn't want to push him and then break into a canter. His counter canter I was really happy with. We hit the centre line, I believe, and our downwards transitions were very good and accurate. The only thing was coming up after our half 10-metre circle up to the centre line at the very end, we broke into canter, which was a little bit gutting, but I was just trying to keep that outside shoulder from slipping out and drifting, and I think he thought that was cue to canter, so sadly we just popped a few steps into canter down the centre line, but other than that I was really happy with him, and his lateral work I was so pleased with. He kept really balanced and moved across nicely. He wasn't too fast or too slow in that movement, and I was really pleased with him. I think he's quite happy with himself, and we're now going to take him back and he can relax whilst I prepare for the jumping phases tomorrow, which I think will have a lot to say in the results. It's a big jumping cross-country course, and I shall walk the show jumping in the morning. Hello and welcome back to day 2 of Gatcombe. Ruff is ready for show jumping. I've walked the course, it's very big, it's definitely a championship course. Fence 3 and 10 are definitely the biggest on the course, a bit nervous for it, but I'd really like to get back here. I think we can do it. And yeah, fingers crossed. And now onto our show jumping round, which I was really nervous for, and quite a few poles were flying around throughout the day. But it was quite a big atmosphere in the main arena, and as soon as we jumped fence 1, Ruffian actually shot off a little bit.
Now jumping, it's Josephine Gleeson, riding her own OFS Ruffian, 36.1.
And as you can see, our turn to fence 2 was very unneat and untidy. I think he just got a little bit nervous hearing the crowd, as that was sort of the only thing I could hear whilst show jumping. It was such a big audience, but I was really pleased with how the rest of the round went. He was jumping absolutely super for me. It was really built up to height. As I mentioned before the round, after walking the course, fence 3 and 10 were really full up to height. But he was really, really great, and it wasn't the flattest of arenas. It had quite undulating ground, so I think he dealt with that really well, and we got a really good shot into every single fence, which I was really pleased about, and I was glad that I could see a stride this day. And then here, coming around this corner, I remember taking a deep breath before coming through the treble, and sadly you can see here he just knocks the front rail with his front legs, but jumps through the rest of it really great for me. And then here I take another breath and prepare for fence 10 and 11, which are the last two, and he jumps those both really super clear, and I was really proud of him actually. Right, so we did our show jumping, and just a really annoying fourth hold, so I was a bit gutted by it actually, because I think he did a really super round. I must say, when we went in the arena, it was such a big atmosphere, and he sort of tanked off a little bit after fence 1. I think he was a bit worried about all the spectators, and it was quite a loud arena. I could hear everyone eating and having lunch and things, so it was quite a big atmosphere, bigger than we've ever had. So I think he kept his nerve really well, and he really was just really unlucky with tapping that first part of the treble. We're all greased up and ready for our cross country. It's very warm, I have a good support team, and we'll have lots of water at the finish line for him. But yeah, really fingers crossed for a safe round, and coming home in one piece is the goal. But I would like to get round clear, but we'll see how it goes, because it's a very technical and a very big course.
Well, of course, and over the first 5 is Ruffian. Josephine Gleeson, owned and ridden by Josephine. Company's wall at 7. Bring forward to dressage 36.1. Couple of fences is number 358, Will Crawley.
Right, and on to our cross-country round, which Ruffian was jumping absolutely brilliantly, and we were actually up on the clock all the way around the course, and he gave me such a good feeling. It just felt amazing, and he did brilliantly with all the combinations asked, and a couple of the fences were actually taller than me. I couldn't see over the other side. In particular, this fence here, I think they called it the Owl Hole. And it was all filmed on Horse and Country TV, and again you can see him jumping through a few of the combinations out on course, and I was really pleased with him. He jumped through the first water really boldly, and this first combination on course here he jumped really straight through. However, sadly, our cross-country round was cut short at the second water, jumping out of the water up the step, where Ruffian jumped into the water a little bit crooked and to the right, which led to me losing a stirrup and being a little bit unbalanced. But I managed to regain my balance and ride him very confidently up towards the step, the second part of the water combination at the end of the course, and sadly resulting in him having a trip up the step and taking a stride out. I think he just totally misread where the step out of water was, and he took off a stride early.
Compromise in this company, based in Yorkshire, and is the UK's leading equine feed balancer.
And here you can see he jumps in a little bit sticky, and then me nearly falling off, but gathering my reins, and here sadly he just took off way too early.
The time in for them, 4 minutes 46 seconds. Oh, Josephine Gleeson did well to sit. That is unfortunately a parting of company. They did really well to stay. This is Josephine Gleeson earlier on at the Magic Millions water. They jumped in stickily, and then just another one to almost take a stride out and come up a little bit too early, but great to see Josephine back up on her feet.
So sadly, Ruffian and I did definitely take a bit of a tumble, but we were both fine, and we both walked off the cross-country course and got checked over by the medics and the vets. We were very lucky, and Ruffian ended up having to have a few stitches where I believe his stud maybe punctured him a little bit from the fall. The vets did an absolutely brilliant job with him, and you can see him out in the field that evening being very happy and relaxed. And I'm very lucky just to walk away with a few bruises, but I'm so proud of Ruffian throughout the whole weekend, and I'm so pleased he's going to be absolutely fine. And just such a shame to finish the way that we did at Gatcombe. But we will be finishing our event season here, but we've had an absolutely brilliant season with some absolutely amazing results, and I couldn't be prouder.